Good morning. So how y'all doing on this gorgeous day? And we just had a wonderful meditation that brings smiles to our faces. And imagine that happening at Harmony. People smiling. That's so unusual, isn't it? Yeah. This is a place of joy. So I picked some stuff from some of the literature we have here about harmony. Some of it's on these little post-note kind of things on the desk, and other parts are on the website. It says about us, and this is from the thing over there, Harmony Spiritual Center is a progressive New Thought community. Our focus is on spiritually growing, living on purpose, and making a positive difference in your life and in the world. We help you to realize and become your greatest possibility. If you want to experience more joy and inner peace in your life, Harmony Spiritual Center's doors are open to you. If you want to be encouraged to shine your light and share the unique combination of gifts and talents that you are, Harmony Spiritual Center just might be what you're looking for. What do y'all think about that? Yeah, isn't that cool? We believe in the oneness of mankind. We are an inclusive spiritual community that seeks to uplift our own understanding and grow in grace. We believe in the absolute joy of life. We believe in the power of healing prayer. We believe in honoring our source by living prosperously and sharing our own understanding of the science of abundance. Okay, I think this part's from the website. Harmony Spiritual Center is a true place of unconditional love and acceptance. Its positive messages, music, energy, and fellowship provide spiritual support for all participants, both on Sunday and throughout the week, which is why we have the Wednesday dinners and the Thursday lunches and so forth to just keep us going. Rather than just once a week, it's nice to have some other events. Okay, our vision. The vision of Harmony Spiritual Center is peace, harmony, and prosperity for all. Affirming that spirit is our source, Harmony Spiritual Center provides a community of spiritual nourishment, fellowship, prayer, and service. So remember, we always have chaplains after the service or before the service for prayer. And if you put your prayer in the prayer box, and this will be announced again later, chaplains pray over and we send it to Silent Unity. Okay, our principles. The principles of Harmony Spiritual Center are inclusiveness, integrity, humility, compassion, transparency, and generosity. And just let's let that sink in for a second, because I think sometimes we do this every week and it kind of becomes rote, So inclusiveness. That means everybody's welcome here. It doesn't matter whether you were born here or you moved here from China or France or wherever. It doesn't matter whether you're light or dark as far as your skin tone. Whatever your beliefs are or values are, different people have different beliefs about different things. But here, everybody's welcome. And that's the thing. And do I agree with everybody on everything? No. Nobody agrees with me on everything. If you did, you'd better check yourself into the funny farm. We all get to have our own thoughts and beliefs. And so everybody's welcome. We are inclusive. And the beauty about being inclusive is that maybe if I don't know someone and I start engaging with them, I get to know them. And then I can see, hear a different perspective. That's one of the things I love about the afterwards. Sometimes I'll hear things from people. It might be Carter, might be Bill or Barb, Vicki, different people. I'll hear things from a different person. I go, man, I never thought of it that way. So that's one of the beauties of this community. Humility or integrity. I think we know what integrity is. Another word for being honest. Sticking to my values, and when I mess up, then I make amends. Humility. Okay. When I was younger, there's an old term, a 12-step term, an egomaniac with low self-esteem. There was that part of me that I needed to feel superior so I didn't feel inferior. It doesn't work that way. We're all equal, period. We're all equal. So, and being humble, there's nothing wrong with being humble. Oh Lord, won't you help me be humble when I'm perfect in every way? Some of y'all know that song. So help me be humble because sometimes I might not want to be. Compassion. Compassion. So do I care for other people? If someone is going through a difficult time, do I reach out to them? Do I say a prayer for them? What can I do? And it might be someone I don't even like. There are lots of people I don't like, and I pray for. I pray for people that do some, to me, awful things. The terrorists. I pray that they will at some point see the light. Okay? What they do is awful, but praying for them, that's all I can do. Really, that's all I can do. So that compassion. And what I know is that when I was miserable, I was not a happy person. And I wasn't a nice person. But I met enough kind people in my life that helped me grow. Transparency. Well, are you who you are? Or are you putting on a face, a charade? Now, I used to be a chameleon. I could be all kinds of different people to different people. Now, what you see is what you get. So, yeah. And generosity. We are a giving group. We are a kind, loving group. So, okay. At Harmony Spiritual Center, we teach that each one of us is an individualized expression of God. Spirit, Creator, Allah, Yahweh, Wakantanka, George, Gomu, Great Spirit, Universe, Grand Mystery, Nature, or whatever you choose to call that which is greater than yourself. My understanding is Spirit, God, doesn't care what he, she, it is called. I get to call this force. I love that term, may the force be with you. I always thought that was beautiful. So, we get to call this higher power, it's another term for it, what we want. And to realize that each one of us is a part of the whole. I am more than I am because I am part of this grand mystery. I am not separate from this great spirit. The love and light flows through me, into me, around me, and out from me. And that's a choice. It really is a choice. I mean, it's always there, and it's a choice. Whether, am I going to let this love in? Am I going to let this light in? Am I going to share with other people? It's a choice. And that's the beauty. My personal belief is I was created with free will to make choices. So, and before we get any further, no, I'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so, okay, here we go. Look at the wall over there. It says, God is ... What do y'all think about that? Is that something that you think about? What does it mean for each individual in here? What does it mean to us as a group? And so today, I'm going to share some personal thoughts on what I believe God is. And these are my thoughts. These aren't official Harmony, things. They're just my thoughts. And here's the other part of this. These thoughts and beliefs are subject to change over time as I continue to spiritually evolve. And fortunately, I've been on this journey for a while, and I have evolved. And I'm open to continuing to evolve, to learn more. So first of all, I think God is wise. Wise means showing deep understanding and intelligent application of knowledge. I think we have evidence that the creator of everything understands how things work and has intelligently applied this knowledge to create and or be the source of this wonderful universe we live in. And then I put in parentheses, entity, energy, or paradox. Paradox, or two nurses, take your pick. Bad joke. So some people think of this God as an entity. Some people think of it as an energy, like the energy of love. And why does it have to be one or the other? Can it not be both and? But to me, this is all a mystery that I am open to. What I just know what I've experienced in my life and how blessed I am. How blessed I am to be here today with you in a group of loving people that so far you hadn't thrown any rocks, eggs, or tomatoes at me. So I lost my spot. There it is. Okay, each of us, every individual in this room have various degrees of wisdom, and which I believe are a combination of life experience, emotional maturity, and spiritual evolution. If I'm not emotionally mature, then I'm probably not going to spiritually evolve very far. Okay. If I don't have any life experience, I just hadn't been around long enough to see some things from a different viewpoint and perspective. Boy, there's so much I see differently than I used to. So that's what I think the wisdom for us is. It's just our experience, our emotional maturity, and our spiritual evolution. Okay. In previous experiences of living backwards, I was unwise by being foolish, obtuse, knuckleheaded, and I lacked discernment. After years of surviving, I made a decision to learn how to live. Since then, God has led me on a journey filled with wise, loving guidance. And this is here. This guidance is here. I just need to ask. And I need to be open and ask. And it's not rocket science. Sometimes I need to just sit, breathe, relax, say a prayer, meditate on the acorns and the oak trees and the squirrels and get that smile on my face and listen. So, so ask yourself, how wise am I? Not me, you individually. And it's okay, because I think Monica is wiser than Olivia. It's not a good or bad, and Olivia's saying yes, shaking her head. It's the difference is how long each person has been on the planet and how much experience they have, and that's okay. There's plenty of people wiser than me, and many of them are younger than me. I can tell you that too. It's not like, oh, I'm old, I know everything. No. So, how wise am I? And do I believe? Do you believe the Creator is wise? Open. I think God is open, open-minded and open-hearted. Some synonyms for open-minded are tolerant, non-judgmental, objective, impartial, and neutral. In order to be creative, whether it's writing a poem, a book, sculpting, painting, teaching, or inventing something, it's beneficial to be non-judgmental of self and others. If I am judgmental of myself, I stifle my creativity. If I am judgmental of others, I hinder my ability to teach them something, whether in an educational setting, in a therapeutic setting, whatever kind of setting it might be. If someone's asking me for some help in some way and I'm sitting there in my mind judging them, how am I going to benefit that person? Because I just, is going on in my head. But if I'm coming from a place of openness, I can be beneficial. Sometimes. It's up to them whether they take what I say or not. That's their choice. Some descriptions for open-hearted are straightforward, responsive to emotional appeal, honest, inclusive, uninhibited, joyous, nurturing, and natural. Many years ago, I was closed-minded by being unreceptive to new ideas, biased, in parentheses, my way is best, and narrow-minded. I know it all. Remember Bullwinkle the Moose and his character? I'm Mr. Know-It-All. Okay, well, I was Mr. Know-It-All. And then when I began making changes in my life, and I'd catch myself in that know-it-all mindset, I would just say out loud, I'm Mr. Know-It-All. And I'd laugh at myself, and just to see, this is irrational thinking. It's silly. It's not true. So, yeah. So, at times I was closed-hearted by being unforthcoming, uncommunicative. That's a hard word. Communicative. Say it 3 times fast. Uncommunicative. Evasive. Yeah, I could have just said evasive and scratched that other one out. So. Evasive and unwilling to be vulnerable. Because if I have a closed heart and I'm not willing to be open and vulnerable, how am I going to really connect with people? So through various psycho-spiritual venues, I learned how to live from my heart. I am blessed because Spirit has provided many opportunities. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many. If I wrote them down, it'd be a lot. But I've been provided so many opportunities that have taught me to have an open mind and an open heart. My personal experience is God loves me unconditionally. I don't have to do anything or not do anything to be loved by Spirit. I don't have to be anything or not be anything to be loved by Spirit. I am totally loved by Spirit. Gomu, God of my understanding. Gus, great universal Spirit. George, as PJ would say. All these different names that we can put on this loving force. So I'm just blessed. So ask yourself, do I have an open heart? Do I have an open mind? Does the God of your understanding have an open heart and an open mind? And really, all of this, we get to choose. I'll get to that. No, I'm a 12-stepper. I've been in 12 steps a long, long time. And to not break any traditions, I won't say which programs because I'm in a public setting. But step 1, we admitted we were powerless over, fill in the blank, we admitted we were powerless over that our lives had become unmanageable. Step 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. This belief that what I'm doing is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. There's a power greater than me that can restore me to sanity. The third step made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood God. And that means each person, just like coming here and thinking about God is to you, each person gets to decide what that means for their self. So that's the thing is like, oh, okay, this has been a big part of my spirituality in my life. Nature, a lot of things. Okay, kind. I think God is kind. Some synonyms for kind are benevolent, gentle, caring, tender, patient, generous, considerate, altruistic, forgiving, compassionate, and charitable. The Dalai Lama says, kindness is my religion. As an individual expression of God, I do my best to exhibit these characteristics. Sometimes I fail or fall. So I get up, make amends, and continue to practice kindness. I don't need to sit around beating myself up. My thing is make amends, continue working on evolving. When I was younger, I lived from a place of fear instead of a place of love. I exhibited unkind behaviors. At times I could be vicious, sadistic, callous, indifferent, and heartless, especially in my fighting days. In certain situations, it was necessary to be not nice. But other than that, sometimes I could be a real jerk. So I'm blessed that my higher power has taught me how to be kind. And when I am kind and nurturing to others, I experience a joyous lightness of being. It's so cool just to be kind to someone. Just hold the door open. You know, I'm not doing it to get anything back. It's just being considerate. So if I start looking at what I can get back, then I'm not being kind. So ask yourself, am I kind to myself? I think we all know who can be our worst critic. Am I kind to others? Do you believe your God is kind? Empathetic. I think God is empathetic. Empathy means someone has a deep understanding of and the ability to feel another's feelings, to symbolically step into their shoes. Some synonyms include compassion, empathic, and understanding. Those are different synonyms for this empathetic word. I believe God feels my feelings with me as I am feeling my feelings. These emotions can be joy, sadness, fear, or anger. I am not judged by my higher power for having my feelings. Starting about 40 years ago, I was very actively exploring and deepening my relationship with Spirit, God, higher power, through prayer, meditation, the Course in Miracles, various seminars, sweat lodges, long dances, mystical studies, therapy, and 12-step recovery. I began this journey of a relationship with God. And when I would walk in to work, it was about a quarter of a mile work, walk into the building, I would say to me, God is in me, and I am in God. God is in everything, and everything is in God. God is in my feelings, and my feelings are in God. God is feeling my feelings as I am feeling my feelings. During this period, I was doing much grieving and healing work. And there were times I'd be lying in my bed just deeply sobbing, and I would feel a presence with me. I knew I was not alone and that I would get through it. So this connection just became stronger and stronger. And there was a time when I was emotionally and physically numb. As a fighter, it was necessary. Don't show you, if you get kicked, don't go, because they're going to start going for the same spot over and over. And I grew up in some trauma at times, and so emotionally it would be like, if my siblings did something and I let them know that hurt me, they might do it again and again. So I learned how to numb myself. But the problem with being numb is I can't experience joy either. So when we numb ourselves in different ways, different addictions, we also diminish our ability to feel joy. Been there, done that. So, okay. I didn't know how to have this empathy for myself. So how could I have it for other people? You know, I can't give to someone else what I don't give to myself. If I don't have $5, I can't loan you $4 or $5. So when I began my healing work, and I began allowing myself to feel to heal. There's an old saying, we got to feel to heal. There's a test called Strength Finders. It, shows different strengths. Number one for me, most of the time, is empathy. Sometimes it comes out optimism. But, being empathetic is probably a good skill to have, good ability to have, because especially if you're practicing therapy. No one wants to go into a therapist who's, And so, I've been blessed to be guided and to learn about empathy. So, self-question, do I have empathy for myself? Sometimes I realize I'm not having empathy for myself. I catch myself, wait a minute. Ooh. Some old message has popped up, and instead of saying stop and reparenting myself in the moment, saying, no, you're worthy, you're a child of God, you're loved. Sometimes let it be there for a while, and then I'm like, ugh. So I'm not having empathy for this little boy inside that's feeling some old pain, that some of the stuff still isn't healed. It's a journey. Am I empathetic with others? We get to ask ourselves that. Do I have empathy for others? Do you believe spirit is empathetic? Okay. So how did this talk come about? Okay. Words are powerful. And again, this is my thoughts. No one else's, just mine. Words are powerful. They can be used to build up or to tear down. Words can be used to nurture another or to cruelly demean and shame them. Many years ago, the word queer was used as a slur against people who happened to be gay. It was in 1990, I believe it was, about 35 years ago. A group of gay people decided to take their power back and to take the power out of the word queer, due to discrimination and violence that was happening against gay people. And they formed an organization called Queer Nation to advocate for the rights of gay people and the elimination of homophobia. And if we think back 35 years ago and the difference now, how different it is that people that are gay are accepted most places in this country, not everywhere, but it's so different than it used to be. And it's because they said, we're going to stand up for ourselves. And then they got help from everybody. And it wasn't just gay people that were in that organization. Anybody could join it. So it was inclusive. So, okay. And one of the slogans that they came up with was, we're here, we're queer, get used to it. Now, and some of the TV shows, like in the 90s and stuff, and early 2000s, like what was one called Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, and some of the ones that had gay characters. That also, I think, just helped people realize these are just people. These people, they're not different in any way except for who they choose to love. That's it, period. They're just fellow human beings. Okay, when I was growing up, I had a friend, and his dad worked for the same company as my dad, and we actually lived in 3 different towns together because we would get transferred. And in the late 70s, he left Fort Worth, and then in 1980, he came to visit me. And that's when he told me he was gay. And he was afraid to tell me, which was very understandable back then. And I told him, it didn't matter to me. You're my friend. We've been friends since like grade school. So I have friends and family who are black, brown, white, Asian, Hispanic, and assortment. In my family, I have people who are gay, transgender, Mexican, indigenous, Alaskan, atheist, agnostic, Christian, Muslim, Afghani, non-binary, bisexual, and heterosexual. And probably some things I left out too. The common denominator is that each one of these persons is a fellow human being who is created by divine spirit. And many of my friends and family have been discriminated against because of who they are. So words are powerful. And so months ago, I heard someone use a word in a derogatory way. And I'm like, what you're doing is you're attacking my friends and family when you treat people this way. These are my friends and family that I love. These are fellow human beings. And the person had a cross on their neck. And I thought, man, I don't think Jesus taught that. I don't think Jesus would have approved of the behavior. And that's all I'm going to say about that part. But that's kind of the inkling of how this message came about, because a song started coming to me. And like I say, words are powerful. So let's see. All right. Okay, by being creative, we can take our power back out of the words used to demean people. In my life, many times I have been called weird. My response is, yes, I am weird, wise, energetic, intriguing, radiant, and divine. Okay? I enjoy being weird. I have lots of fun, and I am a unique human being. I'm not here to please someone else. You think I'm weird? Who's that about? It's not about me. It's about your opinion. We all have opinions. My opinions are about me. Okay? My values are about me. So I like being weird. So anyway, so that's kind of how this thing started coming to me, and this word that was used, and I just thought of this word, and I took those 4 letters and just started changing it. Just W, wise. O, open. K, kind. E, empathetic. God is empathetic. God is wise, open, kind, and empathetic. That's what I believe. That's what I choose to believe. I don't want a God that's judgmental. I don't want the Sistine Chapel God. Sorry, doesn't work for me. I have a loving God. Now, other people, that might work for them, that's their choice. That's the beauty of this country. We have the right to worship how we want to. So with that being said, I meant to ask Jim to ding me when I'm getting too long, because anyway. So my Creator stimulated my creativeness by putting a melody and the words in my head. And it's taken several months to kind of polish it up and make some changes. And I was very fortunate to have help from many experienced singer-songwriters at the Empower Music Festival. I mean, I sang the song a cappella, and a lady, Jan Salmon, afterwards she came up and said, I want to play the piano for you when you perform this song on stage. And I'm like, wow, cool. And then the next day, we were in another song circle, and so Jan played the piano, and I sung the song. Another lady came up, and she said, I want to play guitar for you when you do this song on stage. I'm like, cool, wow. And then Jan is in a trio in Florida, and one of her singing partners was there, said, I want to sing background vocals. And then they got a young lady who plays the violin. Now, these other 3 ladies are all over 80. They're so inspiring, so kind. So when I'm their age, I hope I'm just as kind and inspiring to someone. So I ended up having a band, my own band. I never had my own band, never dreamed of that. God is good, life is good. So here's the other thing. God does have a sense of humor. I thought I had come up with this God is woke idea, okay? No. Last night, Terry Googled God is woke. A bunch of things popped up. And this is one. Now, there's different opinions on this term anyway. You can Google it yourself later and see what you like. But the phrase God is woke is a theological and cultural interpretation that connects God to the modern concept of being aware of social injustice. Proponents argue that God's nature, as seen in religious texts, is aligned with being alert to inequality, seeking justice, and caring for marginalized people, making God inherently, quotation marks, woke. Okay? That's fine. I'm proud to be woke, just like my dad. Wise, open, kind, and empathetic. And so I'm going to share a few words from the AA book. I know we're going long, I apologize. So there's a story in the AA book. Originally it was called Dr. Addict Alcoholic. And they changed it with the newer editions, the title, but that's not the point. Dr. Paul O. wrote this. Now what am I going to do about it? When I stopped living in the problem and began living in the answer, the problem went away. From that moment on, I have not had a single compulsion to drink. And acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. When I am disturbed, it is because I find some person, place, thing, or situation, some fact of my life unacceptable to me. And I can find no serenity until I accept that the person, place, thing, or situation as being exactly the way it is supposed to be at this moment. Nothing, absolutely nothing happens in God's world by mistake. Until I could accept my alcoholism, I could not stay sober. Until I accepted life completely on life's terms, I cannot be happy. I need to concentrate not so much on what needs to be changed in the world or others as on what needs to be changed in me and my attitudes. Shakespeare said, all the world's a stage and all the men and women are merely players. So, what he forgot, and then the writer says, what he forgot to mention, I was the chief critic. I was always able and glad to point it out because I knew you wanted perfection just like I did. That's an illusion. Perfection, I don't think so. So he goes, basically the bottom line is that I don't know better than God. And so I can hold a resentment to people that do things I don't like. That could be a family member, a friend, someone I don't even know. And if they're really doing cruel, evil things, if I hold on to resentment and anger, I'm hurting myself. What I can do is I can pray for that person. What I can recognize is that some terrorist or somebody that kills a bunch of people, that's a sick person. So what can I do? I can pray for them and pray for everyone who was impacted. But I don't need to let that ride inside me. Okay? So that's really bottom line. So I don't know. My thing is like, it's time for me to shut up because I didn't time this out very well. That's okay. But bottom line is that it's up to each one of us individually. I can be kind or not. I can be open-minded and open-hearted or not. I can actually do my best to gain more knowledge and wisdom or not. I can be empathetic or not. My choice. What I am blessed is to be here with you guys. So, thank you. Namaste.